This short clip is from my live trading room. You can engage directly with my fabulous team and me at LaDucTrading.com for all our research and trades. Or for just my daily live streams, you can access via YouTube memberships. All links are in the description. I needed a quick post for you this morning. You have probably seen the bounce, but more specifically, the reason for the bounce. And I'm looking for the Truth Social post that Trump basically used to trigger the algos. In a nutshell, he says he's going to delay all of that bombing activity threat that he imposed Saturday at 7:33 p.m. That would have kicked off tonight at 7:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anyway, he says we're going to expand 5 days out. We're going to give it a break, whatever. We're not going to bomb their energy grid. So I just wanted to remind that we are definitely on a key level of support. I wrote about that, talked about that a lot. So 6,500 generally, 6,508 specifically for SPX. And then he comes out with the policy intervention fake news, meaning he talks about, they're talking with Iran. Iran quickly, the foreign minister quickly shot back and said, no, we're not. There have been no direct communications with Trump, and he made up the entire thing. That's what they said. Iran's position remains unchanged. Hormuz remains closed to Iran's enemies. So it's ironic. We really needed this key bond and market support to hold, and then he enters this just this morning 5-day policy intervention, and the futures market kind of smelled it. It was only down 1% last night. Obviously, it's a farce. Obviously, it triggers algos. We know that instinctively. We don't have to make this up. He is not tacoing, though. There are so many bulls that really want to believe that he's tacoing. There's no bone in my body that believes that he's tacoing. Okay, moving on. The oil energy crisis and associated collateral damage to the Gulf countries, food security, fertilizers, sulfur, helium, all the same arguments that I've been writing about and talking about that makes the market even more susceptible than the 1970s is in fact what the IEA chief came out yesterday in an interview and said this crisis is worse than the two oil crises of the 1970s combined. So basically 73 and 79. Anyway, so you've got this on again, off again, constant bipolar type agent of chaos finagling by Trump constantly in the headlines, which are the tape bombs. I just don't want you to ignore the fact that this is not something that can go right back online. This is going to take 2 to 4 weeks for some facilities that have been damaged, 2 to 4 months for other facilities to be repaired and brought back online. We have a lot of fallout. So that hasn't even been priced in my firm belief. But I want to just remind this whole focus of this algo triggered pop this morning on this fake news. We know that it's a lie, but the point is what happens in 5 days kind of matters because then that is, first of all, Israel's not going to stop bombing. Iran's not going to stop bombing just because Trump says we're not going to attack the energy grid. This is something that Trump has been aligned against Iran for decades. For decades. This is not going to be a taco. So this is a slew of threats that are maybe little pinged or peppered here and there with some benevolent dictator type retreats, but they're not taco. This is something he has been talking about, taking an obsession with Carg Island for 40 years. So he's been doing this anger trip on Iran for Israel for decades. This is a great Bloomberg article that you can read. It's open, free, gifted, whatever you want to call it. And all of this, even invasion in Carg Island, which freaks the oil market out for all kinds of good reasons, taking even more oil off online potentially because it's so hard to win, it still won't solve Trump's oil problem. So it's an excellent article. And then I can show you the money trail of why he's not going to taco. So I don't want to negate the fact that we have a technical bounce, but strategically nothing has changed. This to me is sizing up a big old market top in progress. I talked about that last week, specifically for the underlying liquidity, for semis, and for gold. So I had Dan grab that up, and there's a video that I did specifically captured from the trading room that highlights that. Anyway, this is important. Trump says no strikes on power plants for the next 5 days. He doesn't say the war is over, only that the escalation threat that he did this weekend is delayed. So that's all. Pace yourself. This is not done. Trump's not done. And I love this comment. It was actually, I'm taking it. And I told him I was going to take it. It was
A longtime follower gave me this and said, hey, when you decide to kick a hornet's nest, you don't get to decide when it's over. They do. So I did a quick one just to let you know. Now let's go look at the heat map this morning. Do you remember last week I said, don't be surprised if we have some bounce because look at the dollar. The dollar is coming in right here to this trend line. And this is the day, obviously, that it's happening. But we have a little bit of a support, I would say a lot of support on this 2 hour coming in to about 99, let's call it. All right, so on Q almost, this is dumping, that's the dollar. And this is getting supported right here at this 41.60 for gold. Little bounce, very little bounce. I have big concerns about gold, by the way. I also have big concerns about the market, by the way. And then you have this kinetic, algo-driven, pre-market extravaganza of a bounce in Qs and SPY. So this is on a 2 hour heat map because that's just how I like to do it. A dollar coming back into 99 and then maybe an overshoot to 98 and change. We'll see what happens. A temporary bounce, which would also be supportive of the end of month flows into April Fools and Easter weekend and start of Passover and I don't know what, full moon. Okay, so one thing I want to highlight though, very important. This is not a surprise from the algos, not a surprise, not a surprise, not a surprise. But what's the 10-year yield doing? All eyes on that prize. So, you know, this inverse head and shoulder, I said we're going to go up to 4.3, come back to 4.2. It held. And all I need for the end of month to be uber bullish yields. End of month, by the way, it's only the 23rd. End of month is 4.33. If we close above 4.33, we're going to see 4.86 soon after. All right, so here is the 50-week, this yellow. I'm on a weekly, daily, and an hourly. Then how many levels of support right here? 4. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. The Bollinger Band, the Keltner Band, the channel, the 50-week, and a monthly support, which is why I had 6508 for this potential bounce. So we needed a ceasefire headline and we got it. We got it this morning. Can I project when Trump is going to do anything he's going to do? But I do project that he's going to continue doing what he has been doing. So anyway, this is a bounce. Can we get up there? I mean, I talked about this exactly last week. It would be awesome if we actually had some follow through. So remember, this is the 10, this is the 21 week EMA, and they've already rolled over. The trend is broken. It's busted. It's done. Selling really started on March 3rd. We had a reflexive bounce. We still closed exactly on my 66.30. We had a reflexive bounce. We still closed exactly there, 65.06, but you get the idea. Look at this support. All right, so what's the 200-day doing? Flattening. It's been ascending, and now we could gyrate here before it rolls over. So I'm still big bear, big picture, but I'm not adverse to right tail risk, which I also talked about. There it is. All right, so right tail rally timing. You've got some quants in here. By the way, they've been saying buy the whole time, right tail, and it hasn't been working. So sell puts, sell puts, sell puts, all the way down to 6,500. Now at 6,500, we're bouncing. You've got Friday that marked the March options expiration, removing almost $4 trillion in notional open interest from the market. So that's the other kind of torque. That's the torque. It's moved off the boards. Gamma should give the index more room to move and create the potential for a new trend to emerge, although which direction it takes remains less clear. So that's their estimation. All right, so that's exactly where we're headed right now. 66.66, my original number, roll over, then overshoot. All right, so SPX 66.66 with an overshoot to 67.18. That is exactly where Gamma's headed. 66.66 is this purple line. And then 67.18 is basically right here-ish. Top of the Bollinger Band on the hourly. This is the market overview for spot Gamma. Much better, implied, all that. The hedge wall. So yes, this is a much, much better resource, spot Gamma, for the market data. This, again, is this bounce is not done until the dollar has come back in. I don't know if you heard that this morning, but that is absolutely my contention. The dollar is coming back in. I got it on a 2 hour. This is support area. Let's call it 98.77. We'll see what it does here, but my thinking is it would kind of come up, back up. If it breaks here, it's going to go all the way back down to that 98 area, and the market would move higher. So I would wait until the dollar settles. Like I said this morning, the bounce is in play until this dollar stops falling. Also, yields coming back into 4.33, but I don't care about today. I care about that holding end of the month. So this is all Trump algo put covering. I'm talking about this week, 6,500 to 6,700. That is your channel where this can get into for sure. 67.18 is exactly where I would expect this to get tagged with those puts monetized. And then they roll into that. If we get above 67.18, it can get chased higher. We're not there yet. Nope, we're not there yet. You're gonna have a lot of reason though for right tail today, tomorrow, then let's see.
Join Club to trade with Samantha. Scan this QR code or click the link in the description.